video, we will explore how to make different kinds of graphs in StatCrunch and also how to construct summary statistics. Specifically, our plan is to show how to access StatCrunch and how to prepare your data set, how to generate various summary statistics, how to generate graphs for quantitative variables, qualitative variables, copy graphs over to Microsoft Word or a similar program, and how to save your work and export your data. All right, so let's begin. To access StatCrunch from inside the Canvas course, just click on My Lab and Mastering from anywhere on the screen. Then click on My Stat Lab Course Home. Once inside, you can click the StatCrunch button to access StatCrunch. I'm going to click the StatCrunch website, and that will bring me automatically to the StatCrunch website, and I will be logged in. To open StatCrunch, just click Open StatCrunch here at the top. And it should open up in a new tab. Here, this is a somewhat typical type spreadsheet where you can just enter in numbers and enter in your data. You can also copy and paste data into here. I already have the data I want to analyze over here in Excel. So what I'll do is I'll just highlight all of my data. I just left click, dragged, and let go when I got to where I wanted to. All right, and then I'm going to press Control-C to copy, and then Control-V to paste. And I pasted my data set in here. This data set does have a few non-valid responses, and I indicated that with NR. So one person didn't report what their gender was, and another person didn't report their height. The first variable here is height, second one is shoe size, third one is gender. I can type in those names now just by clicking and editing these default names. So we have height. These heights are measured in inches, by the way. Shoe size. And gender or sex. Okay, if I wanted to delete a row, let's say I don't want to include these non-responses in my sample, I could highlight a row, click on Edit, and click, Row, Delete. I'll leave those in for now because I really don't have a reason to delete them, but if you wanted to delete them so you don't have messy data, you can. Just make sure whenever you're reporting your results that you mention that you deleted something, because that could bias the data. Okay, so to start off, let's talk about how to generate some basic summary statistics such as the sample size, the sample mean, standard deviation, minimum, maximum, quartiles, median, all that good stuff. You may not know all these terms yet, but that's okay. To do that, you just click on Stat, Summary Statistics, and because my data is arranged in columns, I'm going to select columns. I want height and shoe size to be included. I want to include my sample size, N. Just select multiple things. You just hit Control. So mean, so I'm just holding down Control this whole time. I want my standard deviation, and this, by the way, this reports a sample standard deviation, S. My median, I'll get to that in a moment. I'll do my minimum first. And then the lower quartile, or first quartile is what it's called here. And then the median. And then the third quartile, and then the maximum. And I think I'll also include the mode. So I can click, you can select some other options down here, but it's not necessary. So I'll just click Compute. And here you go. Here's the summary statistics for my two quantitative variables. I'm going to just save this or put this aside for now and show you some other things, but I'll show you how to import this table into another program in a few minutes. Okay, so next item on the list is how to do different graphs for quantitative variables. One of the reasons why I want you to play around with StatCrunch a little bit is Excel is really bad at creating graphs for quantitative variables, where it's very easy in StatCrunch. So let me show you how to do this. Let's start off with a histogram. So I'm going to click on Graph, because that's what I want to do. And let's say I want to create a histogram. So I'll select histogram. I can do histograms for both variables by, again, pressing Control and selecting both options, or I could do just one at a time. It's up to you. You can change the type of histogram, where you could do a frequency or relative frequency. So in other words, like proportions. If you want, I'll just leave it as frequency. The default options usually come out pretty well, so I'm not going to mess with that. I do like to have markers for the mean and the median just to kind of see what the data looks like. You can change your axis labels, but again, as long as you labeled your columns, these actually come out pretty well, so I'll just leave it as the default. And actually, everything's fine, so let me just click Compute. So even though you only see one graph here, there's actually two. You see at the top where it says 1 out of 2. So this first one is the histogram for the height data, and the second one is a histogram for the shoe size data. And I can see actually that the mean and the median are pretty close for both of these. The mean is green and the median is red. So both of these data sets are slightly skewed right, but they're pretty close. All right, let's just move on and create a few more graphs, and then I'll show you how to copy these over. Let's do a stem and leaf plot. Again, I'll select both variables, but you could just do one. Let's see here. You can change the default leaf unit. I usually like to create my graphs first and then edit some of the options if it doesn't come out the way I want. I don't want it to get rid of any outliers because that's actually one of the things I want to see, so I select none over here and compute. So this is the stem and leaf plot for height. It's okay. And you can see here the leaf unit by default was 1 in this example. So 5, 7 represents a 57-inch height because 7 is in the ones place. For shoe size, it didn't come out so great. The leaf unit's still 1. So in other words, this is a size 3 shoe, 3 shoe, 4 shoe, etc. That's not at all what I want. Half sizes are important. So I'm going to change my options for this. And if you do change, if you change your options, unfortunately it'll change your options for both of them, but that's all right. I can mess around with it later if I want. So let's see. I'm going to make my leaf unit 0.1 for shoe size. And again, no outlier trimming. And as you see, I changed it for height as well, which is not really what I wanted. But here's the shoe size, and this is a little bit more logical. So I see here someone has a 2.5 shoe size, someone has a 3, 3.5, 4.5. A lot of small shoe sizes. 5, 5.5, etc. And there's 4 size 13 shoes, which is again quite surprising. All right, let's see, more graphs. You can do box plots, which I think are kind of fun. I'll just select, well, no, I'll do both. Height and shoe size. The default is fine. This use fences to identify outliers is a pretty cool feature. And I usually like to mark where the mean is as well on this. The median's automatically marked, so it's not quite necessary. Most of the defaults are fine, so I'm going to click Compute. Oh, I didn't realize I'd put them together in one graph. Okay, let me edit that. All right, so let me just do these separately. I'll just do height. Okay, let's see. And let's do compute. Okay, so this is a box plot or a box and whisker plot for the height of people in the class. And if I wanted to do, I'll just do a second graph. Let's see, box plot for shoe size. I like that feature of using fences, and let's see, and I'll select the mean option. All right, and so here's my shoe size plot. So I don't really have any extreme outliers in my sample. Okay, let's go on to the last kind of graphs, qualitative graphs. By the way, there are a bunch of other graphs you can play around with here. Dot plots is a pretty cool feature. Scatter plots we'll explore later in the class. These other ones we're not going to explore in the class, but most of them are pretty intuitive if you wanted to play around with them. Let's do a bar plot. So I'm going to do a bar plot with my data. By summary, it means, like, let's say I knew that there were 30 men and 25 women in the sample. Then I can use summary if I had that in a table set up like that. But I just have the raw data where each observation is separate. So I'm going to say a bar plot with data. I'm going to select gender. Usually the defaults are fine, so I'm going to leave it at that. I could change it to a percentage instead of a frequency, but it's okay the way it is. And I'll click compute. So here you can see my one non-response, and these are men, and these are the women in my sample. All right, other graphs I can do is a pie chart with data. Again, I'm going to select my gender variable. I'll leave the defaults on here just to see how it comes out. Okay, there you go. Here's a pretty pie chart. One thing that I do like to do is put titles on my graphs, and you can do that in here as well. So where's that option? I can type in a title. This might be pie chart of gender. I'll maybe mess with a few of these other graphs and edit the titles as well. Bar graph of gender. And again, I can add titles to all of these, but I'm not going to waste your time watching me do that. All right, so the last thing I want to show you is how to copy these graphs and tables over to Word. It's not entirely intuitive. I'm not going to copy all these graphs, just some of them. So let me start off by opening up Microsoft Word. Start with a blank document. Get rid of the files I haven't saved. All right, so let's start off. Let's start off by copying over, let's say, one of these graphs. Any picture type graph would be copied over about the same way. You click on Options and you click on Copy. This doesn't actually copy the graph. It just prepares it as an image that can be copied. It has a tip at the bottom, which the tip will tell you exactly what to do, and it's not quite intuitive. Basically, what you want to do is you want to right-click and click Copy. So far, that's fine. Then when you go back into your program to copy it into, you don't just paste. So let's go back to the directions for a moment. It says we need to hit Control-Alt-V and paste device as an independent bitmap. So let's do that. Control-Alt-V, and I want to select device independent bitmap. And there you go. There's my graph. And of course I could have something before the graph or after the graph. Maybe some words like below is a pie chart of the gender of the 58 students sampled, or whatever you want to write, depending on what project or what purpose you're doing this for. And I can copy over all the other graphs that I've created in the same way. If I click X, it doesn't actually, well, that was just the paste screen. If I click X on the graph, you can actually reopen it up anytime by clicking on StatCrunch. So let me just close up all these graphs just to clear up my screen. But again, I might want to copy all of these over. Actually, that last one, let me talk about. So results, let's do the stem and leaf plot. If I want to copy over this stem and leaf plot, again, if I hit copy, it will tell me what to do, but it doesn't actually change anything this time. It doesn't open it up in a new window and prepare the graph to be copied, because this is just text. So to copy it, I can just select all the text. A quick way to do that is in the window, just press Control-A. It'll select everything. Press Control-C. Oops, I did something wrong here. Control-A, Control-C. Oh my goodness. I don't know what's going on here. All right. I'll just do it this way. Copy. Right-click and copy. Then I can go back into Word and press Control-V. This is really nothing special, and it pasted it just fine. This is exactly what it's supposed to look like. It's not pretty, but it works. Same thing goes for if you were copying a table. So let me show you that. Again, if I hit Options, Copy, it'll tell me exactly what I need to do. So I just need to, in the graph, press Control-A, Control-A, try again, Control-A, right-click, copy. Yeah, I guess the right click is a better option. And then Control-V in my program, and it copies over the data table that I want to use. And again, I can type in stuff before it or after it to explain any information I want to in there. Okay, let's just do one more thing. You can save your data set by clicking Data Save, or my favorite would be Data Export. This will export your file into a format that other programs can read. The most common is a comma delimited file, where you can do tab separated file as well. I'll just stick with the comma one. By default, it does whatever title name's up here, but you can always change it later. So I'll just do, I'll just click to export it just as it is, and then I can click Save As and change the name here. So I'll change it to a My Data, and it saved it as a CSV file, which can be opened in other programs like Excel. All right, I hope you found this tutorial helpful. If you have any questions, please let me know.